even in the meeting if we have time.
Yes.
Wonderful.
As general evaluator, I will manage a little Q&A if we have time. Thank you,
Yes.
Madam Toastmaster. Back to you.
Now, we have a guest. Surprise, surprise. Oladele from Lagos, Nigeria. And he will be today our table topic master.
Good morning.
He cannot show in video, so I accepted him to ask questions, speaking to us. Oladele, open your... Yes, thank you. You are on.
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster from Lagos, Nigeria. It is 16 minutes to 8 a.m. in Lagos, Nigeria. Good evening to those who are in the evening, whatever part of the time zone around the world you are. Good afternoon to those who are in the afternoon. And good morning to those who are in the morning, like I am right here in the very warm and humid city of Lagos. Love and pathways is the theme of our table topic session, and I have three lovely bouquet of topics that I've drawn out of the base camp. If I may borrow the words of Helen, from the hole or the cave of the base camp. The first is this, and please show by raise of hand if you would love to answer the question or speak on the topic. If Pathways was your Valentine, how would you celebrate him or her? Please show by raise of hand if you want to attempt the topic. Yes, let us have Brian the Canadian. A round of applause for him.
I will take that on. Well, I kind of celebrated that yesterday. I did a speech, a pathway speech, in a speech contest online in a districted club. The new rules allow us to do that. We're slowly getting where we can manage to spread the message online. And by doing it, we are also, our district is going to wind up pretty quickly into pathways. I'm assuming within the month. And one of the things that I just love about pathways is I've been running this speechcraft now for 4 weeks. We've got 2 more weeks to go. 2 of the members are down to 1 speech and will have completed level 1 of whatever path they choose to have. Now, they can't register it until it rolls out in the district. But once it does, they've got their evaluations, everything else. They just go through the various screens that you have to and register their path. And they will achieve their first path. I am seeing what Pathways does with new people that are, using the manuals, reading the assignment and everything else. Some of them, because they're students in university, are doing it at last minute type of things. But it's fantastic how they can just do that, organize themselves, and make enthusiastic speeches. That is my love for Pathways. So here's a little heart. Whoops, can't do it right. Little heart for you, Pathways.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for Brian. Thank you for your very, very lovely feedback. The next question goes to Nikki. Nikki, it is hypothetical, if you like. If Pathways was your partner, how would you celebrate this partner on your 25th wedding anniversary? Over to you, Nikki.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, for that awful question. I think Pathways would be a new partner, though, not a 25-year anniversary partner. And if it was my 25th year together, I think that would make me about 12 when we actually got together, which might be a little inappropriate, right? So I'm just going to roll with the pathways being my brand new partner, and this is our first Valentine's Day together, because I think the first Valentine's Day is an important time to impress your partner. And here in Cairns, I live in a place which is like your home, hot and tropical. In fact, I just looked up the weather for Lagos in Nigeria, and I think it's going to be warmer and humider, if that's a word, than your home today. And we have this particularly special kind of seafood that's found here. It's a little tiny lobster, and we call it a bug, a Moreton Bay bug. And my actual partner really, really loves these little lobsters. Every time you tell somebody about a bug, they kind of freak out because bugs don't sound that nice to eat. And I can see Helen's getting really excited because she's eaten her fair share of bugs in her time. And if you think of them more like a lobster, you'd think, yes, that's the most perfect way to spend Valentine's with your partner, is eating a very large quantity of lobster. I think that's how you truly say, pathways, you're really special to me, is with some bugs.
Thank you very much, Nikki. My last question, who wants to take it? All right, I can see 2 hands, 3. I can see Michelle, Svetlana. All right, let me take Svetlana.
Okay.
Svetlana, if Pathways was your lover, please present a 3-liner poem to this lover of yours.
Thank you, Oladele. Love is not, what was it? Okay, if Pathways was my lover, I would say, look, my lover is such a gregarious person, and we're hosting all kinds of parties at home with all these different pathways, qualities, and people who get together around every path. And that path attracts people. And so we host parties very often at our place, and we enjoy the company of so many different people with so many different content and enthusiasm and creativity and talent. And I would probably quote Shakespeare, but that quote is probably escaping me. I can't remember it, but it's Sonnet 116 about love. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love that alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever something mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark whose words are known and its height be taken. And I can't remember the rest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Svetlana. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Nikki, for throwing your hearts in the ring to show love to Pathways. Please remember this. I encourage all of us to let our love make us more committed to Pathways by delivering our projects, by encouraging other people who are developing cold feet in jumping from the traditional program to Pathways, and by helping every other person who needs help from any part of the world. Good morning, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. Our table topic master. He was wonderful. And now I will give the time for our general evaluator also to make round robins for all our speakers, because we have the time.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. We do have one very important member of the evaluation team who has been busy scribbling notes. So I would like to to bring up first our grammarian, Kate Arnold, who's a guest from District 7.
I wrote down or tried to write down some of the most beautiful things that were said, and there were so many. Matilda, you started you used such good descriptions when you talked about the black box. I could see it. And then when you talked about opening the little box, lots of butterflies flying around us. And you really need to reach out and find a helping hand. This is our chance to make the world better. Svetlana, your description of the glass bridge built over the mountain in China was really very visceral and beautiful. And on that glass bridge of pathways, you used it as a metaphor. And your quotes at the end were absolutely beautiful. I love it. You should type them out and send them to everyone. They were so inspirational. Helena, you were talking about to reach your ultimate adventure. Here's the key to your door. Go off into the cave and find the jewels and treasures of the electives. We need their guidance and knowledge in speaking. And then it was a little bit more, but basically need guidance and knowledge of the older members to speak in the world. And you said, I love adventure. Ruth had a few alliterations. The language in the stoves were flowing. Lovely electives. Odalade said a few things. I only got one. Let us let our love by embracing pathways, and just the words were just very beautiful. Nikki said, you had really humorous stuff. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, for that terrible question. And then you were saying, that's how you show pathways is really special to me. Feed it bugs. And then Svetlana, I was amazed that with you being able to do the Shakespeare quote. Oh, and Michelle, I missed you. At the very beginning, you said, we will be sharing some love stories. And then you talked about the Toastmaster as Story Master's Master. And that's what I noticed of what people had to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kate. And that was wonderful. And Kate, you saved me because I was also trying to take notes. And the funny thing is some of the things I missed, you got. And some of the things you missed, I got. Like, for example, with Oladili, I really loved the throwing hearts into the ring. I think that was the one that you were saying there was something great that you missed. And with Helen, thank you for getting most of the things I'd noted down. There were two that I really liked. They were so storytelling-ish, if there's such a word, storytelling-ish. One was dark and scary. We go into the cave. So, it's like storytelling in its essence. And then the other one was when she was comparing potholes, and she said, well, I realized potholes were not really barricades, but rather opportunities to learn. There were so many other great things. So I would think that our storytelling was demonstrated at an excellent level. I'm just so sad that Paul isn't here because he's another amazing storyteller. But waking up at 1 a.m, I guess, is a little bit difficult when you're pushing, I think he's pushing 80, or I think he's 80, right, Julie? So that's a bit of a challenge. We need to invent that wake up thing on our computers. Other things as general evaluator that I'd like to comment on, I know I'm biased because I'm one of the charter members and I'm the club president. So this is a disclaimer. Okay, I am biased. But still, even if I were not the president and one of the charter members, I think we're an awesome club, don't you think? Don't you agree? I think everybody would agree. Yeah, Svetlana is agreeing. Yes, honestly, Svetlana and Julie, I don't think we're being biased when we say we're a great storytelling and humorous. I love Svetlana shaking her head. We really are. I mean, regardless of how tired or exhausted or preoccupied I am, when I switch on to a Witty Storytellers meeting, it's always a special meeting and it's always amazing. Some of the things that I wanted to highlight is the quality of the titles. Oftentimes, a speech title does not lend itself to the story itself. In this case, I think the titles were really great, all of them, and Paul's would have been Path to Go Before I Sleep. Well, I guess he went to sleep, but that would have been a speech title. The uh, the Toastmaster. I always love it when Julie is the Toastmaster because there's so much passion, so much enthusiasm. You can see it. And using, she started her role by talking about falling in love, 30 years, and then falling in love. And I kept on thinking, who is that? At one point, I thought maybe she was talking about herself, but then it turned out it's the granddaughter. So excellent development of the story plot. One of the things that I would like to suggest to Julie is sometimes, because you know all the speakers and you know so much about them, there's sometimes a tendency to continue giving information after you introduce them. And so I think the speaker is not sure when he or she should start speaking. So I would think maybe the best finale word is the speaker's name, so that when the speaker hears Svetlana, then she's on and you don't say anything anymore. I think that would help. Uh, but really, I love the way that you segue into different sections. And I don't know how you found Oladili to do this, because he just showed up and then you had him. Julie has a magician's way of finding people to take on roles. And I'm like, okay, when did that happen? But great, very, very excellent table topics. Oladili, I don't know if you just did that now, but the topics, the questions were really thought provoking and so relevant to the theme of Pathways Love Stories. I was waving my hand for the third one, but then I realized when Svetlana got it, I'm like, oh gosh, thank you, Svetlana, because I couldn't have done that. I don't have a single bone of poetry in my in my body. I do want to share, in case you haven't heard about it, there is a group of Toastmasters who have started doing this fun thing on Facebook for a pledge or an oath for Toastmasters Pathways Guides. And it is, well, no, it's a bit too long. So the other side of me is saying, no, don't share it now. I'll post it later on. But it's a pledge for Pathways Guides to share with their clubs or their districts. And it's a little bit based on Game of Thrones, so it's fun. Let me see if I've missed anyone as general evaluator. Or grammarian, yes. Thank you so much, Kate, for coming in just as a guest. And the next thing you know, you're already thrown a role, but you're used to that. Kate Arnold is an area director, second time around area director in District 7. And she's one of those who's not there as area director just for the credits. She's really there for the service, and she goes out of her way. And as I mentioned, in case some of you missed it, Kate created a AAA rewards program in District 7, wherein people are motivated and inspired to start pathways, because there's the early adapter, the early advisor, and the early achiever. So AAA. And for those who are interested, later on you can ask Kate and she'll be happy to send you that information. Let me see, have I covered all the roles? We have table topics of the Toastmaster, the speaker. Our timer, of course, was low-tech this time for a change. That was interesting. I actually liked the low-tech thing, the cards, Zaldi, rather than sometimes the screen. But that was, either way is always good. Now, I promised Helen that we might have some time for round robin, and I believe, I'm looking at the time, yes, we do. So, Zaldi, a little bit more work for you. Can you give us 5 to 7 minutes, the usual green, yellow, red at 5, 6, and 7? We'll do a short round robin for Helen, and then if we have time, we'll do round robin for the others if they also want it. So, Zaldi, can we do that? And who would like to start giving? Well, let me start by giving a comment, actually a request to Helen. I thought, or I think, that your story would be so helpful for people who are scared about pathways. I would like permission, once that is removed from the entire meeting and just your speech, I would like permission to share it on the Pathways discussion forum. So you don't have to say yes right now, but you can message me later on. But I'd like permission to do that. So any comments or suggestions for Helen?
Yeah, I would like to add that one of the things to do in any club that you're, is to appeal to the younger people, the ones that are not traditional Toastmasters to say, and appeal to them to get into it. And they, with their enthusiasm, will slowly turn the boat, and the club will follow along and fall into that category pretty quick.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion for in general. For Helen, I do recall that she said that out of the number they had a huge number that was already started on Pathway. So it seems like she's doing that. I'd like to have maybe comments for her, because I think that's what she's wanting, not general, but for her, comments, suggestions, feedback. So yes, Julie.
So my my comment is similar to Michelle. Please, Helen, can you unmute your... Yes.
Yes.
I would like to publish your speech in my blog, Pathway Experience, because I think all three speech, otherwise, if possible, Mathilde also, if she lets me, because I think your speech, Helen, it was so much experience and personal experience of your club and enthusiasm and problems with your club. May I publish your speech in my blog?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Mathilde also?
Yes.
Thank you very much. And
sorry, I'm muted. I do this automatically and then I forget to switch back. I was saying if we could also request Svetlana's permission, that was an amazing example of how pathways and storytelling and vision sharing in an HPL can be perfectly tied together. I keep on hearing George Marshall saying that pathways projects are so flexible that you can blend in almost anything into it. That was a great illustration. So back to Helen. We still have about 3.5 minutes for her. Any other comments? And round robin, I'm sorry, I'm used to that. It's like horizontal or rotary where anyone can just throw in comments. So anybody else who wants to? Yes.
I'm struggling for recommendations, but I want to share my commendations about Helen's speech. I'm so happy that Helen joined us because she's such a classy, really solid Toastmaster. And every time she carries and she delivers a very fresh message. It has a lot of this local color and a lot of details that refer to exact things from her life, whether it's icebreaker or this speech about the challenges that were overcome by a club. Yes, and I am so happy that we have more and more members who are willing to go public with their speeches, who are not afraid of it, because from start, Witty Storytellers was thought, as a place, as Toastmasters who would publish their speeches and even, their meetings. So really happy about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Svetlana. And I echo everything that Svetlana said. Helen, you have a way of just choosing the very exact word and very vivid. Like there was one I missed earlier when you said luring into the cave. You could imagine somebody like the sirens trying to lure somebody into the cave. Great word choice. Anybody else who wants to give some feedback to Helen? We have, I think, about 2 more minutes. And just unmute yourself because for some reason I cannot see everyone. There you are.
Well, until
So,
someone
yeah.
decides, I would like to say to Helen that every time she speaks, she brings us there, where she is. She has a magic of bringing us to her place, her story, the mother last time who had a lot of kids and a lot of work, and now the club with all those different people and all those problems, but we are there with you. And I think that is a magic which is not easy to obtain, and you do. And so we learn a lot from you.
Yes, amen to that, Julie. I asked Helen's permission to share her story about just another day or just another ordinary day with my daughter who has 4 kids. And I think that kind of inspired my daughter. So, Helen, you have touched people's lives beyond where you even know it. So we have just a minute left. Last, actually 45 seconds. If anybody else wants to offer any other comments or suggestions for Helen, as Shakespeare, or who was it who said, speak now or forever hold your peace, or at least for the duration of the meeting. Anybody else has anything? Okay, going, gone. Thank you, Zaldi, for signaling me. Thank you. So, looking at the time, we actually have, yay! I don't like the fact that Paul missed the meeting, but partly because he had a longer speech and he's not here, we have a little bit of time left. So, is there any of the 2 other speakers? Would you like also round robin, round table, round the screen? Feedback, yes. Mathilde, are you saying yes? You're muted, but I'm guessing with the hand and the
Yes,
smile. It's a yes. There you are.
I had
So,
a power lag, therefore I could not hear Ruth's feedback.
oh, I'm so sorry. Even in Germany. Okay, so even the first world, most advanced country. Okay, so Zaldi, it is, I think we have enough for 5 minutes, I think. We don't have very many
Yes, we
guests.
have
So,
time.
yeah,
It
so
is
let's
7:10.
actually, yeah, so give us, I'm looking. Zaldi, I think we can actually do 5 to 7. So let's have 5 to 7 for Mathilde as well. So I would like to start by saying, Mathilde, like I already said, I love, some people start their speeches kind of slowly and then build up and get good. I love how you start a speech really powerfully with your choice of words, your eyes get big and excited, and then your voice. You have a storyteller's voice, which is so powerful. And you have this, like, it's almost like, come, sit down, kids, I'm gonna tell you a story. You have that look in your face when you start a story. I love that. And then you couple it with your choice of words, like I think Kate already mentioned, or Ruth, the black box and the butterflies. I could see that, so that's lovely. Okay, next person, just unmute yourself if you want to say something for Mathilde.
Me, I would like to say. I would like to say yes. I said this earlier to Mathilde, and I wrote it in her evaluation, but now I want to say this in public, that Mathilde has a very special kind of storytelling skill that is very natural in her. She is just, Michelle said, she is a storyteller gathering children around, but she is also in that particular image of a storyteller. She's also that child who listens to that story. So somehow she blends these both images in one person, and she is glowing with this inner light when she's talking. And I hope very much that I will learn it somehow organically without a special effort, just by liking that manner, that I will somehow do it myself as well. And another thing about Mathilde's manner of storytelling is that she's never lost for words. She does not have all these unnecessary, pauses or filler words. She does not have that. And somehow she got it. She got it. She is a master storyteller. I'm very happy that she is in Witty Storytellers and also in Witty Birds. And I want to learn from her. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Svetlana. And it is so interesting that you highlighted a quality that Matilde has, which you also have, that glow. If you remember when I evaluated you earlier, you have that glow. And I think the word is wonder. Wonder is such a beautiful word. You both have that wonder. It's like the world is beautiful, life is beautiful, and you show it in your face even before you start speaking. So you both have that, which is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, yeah. So who else wants to give some comments?
I think I would like to volunteer Zaldi, who almost didn't speak yet today.
That's right, but he's not at his desk, I think.
Is there?
Where is
No,
Zaldi?
he's there.
Oh, there he is. It's Nikki. Okay. Zaldi, please. You need to unmute yourself. Zaldi? I could
Yes.
unmute. Yeah, there.
Yes. So Matilda has always been a great speaker. I I echo what Svetlana has said, and she uses uh, facial expressions very much, and what else? And it's about her. Can't think of anything, but I know one thing because I remember I evaluated her pathways icebreaker, and I said that people wanted to hear more of her because her speech was went less than 5 minutes. So I think it's more of the way that she could monitor. Yeah, she has a body clock for her speeches. She knows how long it goes, so tries to stay it within 6 minutes. So back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Yes, I noticed Mathilde. I don't think Mathilde, even when she had the music and all that, I don't think she's ever gone over time, to my knowledge. And I've heard a lot of speeches. I've never heard her go over time. And like I said at the start of the meeting, she always shows up on time. So I guess you're right, Zaldi. She has an internal clock there. Anything else? Any other comments or suggestions? We have.
Helen would like to speak.
Yes, Helen, please unmute yourself.
This is a comment both to Matilde and to Svetlana. It's something I've noticed with our people in our club who have English as their second language. They seem to have a way of finding a word that we wouldn't think of using because we're just using English all the time. They find just the perfect word and drop it in, and that just makes like a flower bloom of their story. And I will repeat your body language, your vocal variation, and each speech I've seen, you have a little prop, and it's only little, but it's just the perfect thing to focus our attention so that you've got us in the palm of your hand for your speech. Congratulations, Matilde.
Thank you, Helen. And that is funny because I was thinking about Helen, your use of words was impressive. So I will pretend that English is not your first language. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you have that amazing knack as well. So we have a minute left for Matilde. Any other comments? Just unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm going to challenge Matilde again with this. Like she's sitting there, and the light is streaming in from the window, but however, on her, well, from down on your left-hand side, you just need a kind of spotlight to take away the shadow that you have there. You don't have to take it all away, but just enough to take it away so you don't have those dark shadows. If you put too much light on, what happens is then you get that reflection. Like Michelle, for some reason, has a high reflection on her skin, and it's not coming across quite the way that we can. But you'll get there. I mean, you are doing the daylight, the nighttime, and everything else.
Thank you, Brian. Actually, before you came in, we were testing. I have the real sun coming in because I only have one light up. And the team who was here earlier when I closed the door, they said, no, it's worse, don't do it. But now I actually realize the sun is coming in way too much. So,
Welcome,
okay.
Carol. And I would like to add something to Mathilde to finish with Mathilde and lights. I do think that Mathilde has the optimal lights because it seems so normal. I like when there is a shade in one side because we see like you are really there. I have some unnatural lights now in face of me and not enough round, three-dimensional. But your face is really three-dimensional now.
Okay, thank you very much, Julie. And I would like to give Svetlana the same amount of time if she would like. And I'm guessing, Svetlana, could you speak up and say, would you like the same 5 to 7 minute round
Yes,
table? Robin?
yes, I do.
I was almost 100% sure of that. Okay, so let's get started on the first feedback for Svetlana. I was her evaluator, so I've already shared my views. Let's have the first comment for her, and as we do that, I will disappear for a few seconds. I will close the door because really it is starting. The sun is actually starting to bake me. So let's start with our first evaluator for Svetlana. Our comments for Svetlana, please.
I'll just add something here. I loved the way you held the book up and you were holding the book. However, we could only see the edge of the book, and it would have been better if we could just see a little bit of the cover of the book when you hold it.
My diary.
Yeah. And your notes were, the way you were holding it, your notes were there. So if you have notes, it would be better if you're still telling stories that you don't see the notes. So notes down on the paper so that they're not obvious to the audience, and it's just like you're telling a story from a book. I think that's a great prop and a terrific way to draw in the children into your story.
Thank you very much, Brian. And oops, not good, I guess. So much for turning off the sun. So let's move on to our next comment for Svetlana. Anybody, just unmute yourself. I hope this is not too distracting. I'll try and figure it out. But do we have another comment for Svetlana? Please unmute yourself if anybody is speaking, because I don't hear anyone. Yeah, go ahead, Julie.
I was more than happy to hear that story, finally. And I was more than happy to hear, like she said it, about Witty birds. I think at the same time, she's preparing for her last Haspiel story, and at the same time telling us a real story about how we founded Witty Storytellers and how she began to do Witty birds and how the Witty birds grow and are really doing wonderful teamwork. And I would have liked just a very short part, very discreet part, also about some of her problems in Witty birds. Not too much, because we don't like to open too many troubles, but just a hint that everything didn't go wonderfully, and we had also, or she had also, problems. But what is absolutely true, that I felt the passion and I felt the desire to go again and again to Witty birds, who are a wonderful group.
Thank you so much, Julie. And like I said earlier, I've made a note. I need to figure out how not to go crazy with lack of sleep from different clubs, but I really intend to attend Witty Birds.
Thank you so much. Please do.
And yes, and for those, Carol, if you just came in, I'm sorry, I just experimented with the lighting and now this is happening. So I'll try and fix this while somebody else is giving comments. Who else caught the Svetlana's story? And Carol, just for your benefit, in case you missed it, we're giving 5 to 7 minutes of round robin, round table, horizontal, round screen, whatever you call it, evaluation or brief comments for our speakers. So who else would like to say something? We have 3 more minutes for Svetlana. Anybody else? Okay. So Zaldi, did you
Matilda has her hand.
Matilda wanted to tell.
Okay, go ahead.
I really liked how you explained where the name came from and the value you give to your members. I really like this because this is something that's special about every club. It's something, what is going on in this club, what I'm there, and you were describing this so nicely. Also with your kind of pictures you were creating, with being over the clouds but still feeling warm. That was so beautiful, and I really felt like this. And I have been to your club. Also, when I was there, I felt like this. And your words just described it so great that you could feel it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Matilda.
Yeah, thank you, Matilda. That's very well expressed. And we have 2 more minutes. Anybody else who wishes to give comments, just unmute yourself.
I would like to add that I liked very much how she used the wall and the door and the switch behind her. That is very memorable.
Right. And the metaphor of the door into pathways and the door, physical door. Yes, wonderful. Brian, did you unmute yourself to say something, or you're just unmuted?
I'm always an admirer of Svetlana and her speeches, and the fact that she stands up. I mean, she somehow, when you're standing up, you can get more enthusiastic about what you're talking about than when you're sitting down. I wish I had the room, but I'm like Michelle. If I go too far back, I'll be into my painting that's there. So I don't have the luxury of doing that. But
yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
And by the way, I just decided to give up on because I didn't want to hurt anybody's eyes with the flickering. So this is the actual green screen. As you can see, it's glowing a little bit. So was there anybody else? And it's 7 minutes, 6:37.
Thank you so much, Michelle, as general evaluator for us. I would like, if you would like president, now, to give me 1 minute, because I would like to ask you all who are here if you want or not to give a contest, an international speech contest.
Yes.
And if someone wants to organize it, because I have no time now, if you want it.
Yeah, please go ahead and take your 2 minutes to do that. Well, go ahead.
Thank you. So
I don't want to get involved in organizing it, but I am involved in another online speech contest that will be coming toward the end of March. But basically, what the clubs are going to have to do is pick a winner of who you want, and that person could also represent the club on the video contest. We have a standard to live up to now, because Lorraine came in 3rd on the international video conference and had won at the club level for Firebirds.
So
I'd like to participate.
I would love to give a speech. Yeah.
Yes, I would like to participate as well, but not organize it. Maybe help to organize it, but not to be the
So
active organizer.
what I will do, I will send to all members a letter and ask them to vote if they want a contest or not. Okay?
Yeah, it's a good
Well,
idea.
I think, Julie, the point is we already heard that people would want the contest. We had unanimous 3 people saying they want the contest, but none of them would be willing to take the planning and organizing part. So I will be happy to serve as the contest chair, so then the rest can compete. How about that?
Or we can
Organize,
discuss it.
it means contest chair is organizing it also?
Well, that's basically it. That's what the real chair is supposed to do. I know there are chairs who just sit on their chair. But yeah, the chair is supposed to chair, do the work.
Thank you.
Christian had a comment.
Yes, I can help with organizing the contest, so I can help the chair if he or she needs it. So let me know.
Yay!
I can do everything.